about on the north side of town. We feel like a really, really, really attractive piece of property. And we talked about this. It has value to us. We have some high dollar equipment that's been sitting out in the rain. We've got a lot of supplies. This has a tremendous amount of storage, which is gonna be beneficial, but of course it requires that we make a debt payment, so there's a cost associated with that. One of the things that I've been pretty adamant about in talking to Fred is this is actually more room that we actually really need at this particular point. And I know the city, the county, and the school is looking for space. And so them or be it somebody else, my objective would, and we talked about this last council, is to try to lease some of that in an amount equal to or greater than our total monthly payment, so that it would have very little impact to our bottom line. That's very, very possible, very plausible. I'm gonna charge the city manager, and our finance director with, not that it's conditional, because we don't know on this side what's out there, but I think it's very possible, and I think this would be a tremendous purchase for the city and the related entities if we can get this done like this, and it really has value. Again, there's a lot of places to put our dollars. I know we've got to think about that, but now's the time. We're up against the wall as far as our contract is concerned. So I am very much in favor of us doing this for reasons stated. Again, I think we can find a way to try to generate real income to cover our debt service. So I'm excited about this possibility. City manager?
No, I think, again, what we discussed in closed session, again, the council's aware, and so, I'm excited. I'm excited as far as it's a step. I think it's, from my standpoint, I think it's something that's needed. And again, with all the other needs I get as well. But I'd like for the council to approve this tonight and we move forward and get this done. And that's about all I got.
Council, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Councilor Torino?
Fred, can you just give us a brief of what are the pros on this type of building? What is the need? Why is it that we would want to go after this, and
Well,
a little bit of history of why?
As part, as some of y'all know, the service center, our current facility is in pretty bad shape. I mean, first one, we don't have the necessary protection, if you will, to take care of some of our equipment, material. That's one of the issues. Two is again, there's other optimal, we can optimize this property not just for our needs, but for others. I agree with the mayor, there is potential. We've been out there, I feel like we've done our due diligence to do our homework on the property, and we believe there's more potential other than just having it for, servicing needs. That's my opinion. And so I think with that, there's, in my opinion, there's more pros and cons, not only for the city, but I think we could really do something with other entities. And again, it's a significant piece of land. So there are more pros in my opinion than cons. And I think while it's a big step for the city, I think it's something that, in my opinion, past due. Trying to find something that's suitable for again, not only the service center, but other things we probably need to work on.
And I think we have reached out to the school district and the county to pitch this to them. This is what the plan is for the city, and coming into, pitching them to them as well to say, you know what, this facility that I think could be a multi-purpose facility for all three entities to unite and come in for one,
Well, I think in my opinion, Mayor, if I may,
Sure.
our facility is beyond bad condition. I wanna say that since I've been involved since 2012, 2011, we've invested in a lot of different areas, new city hall, new police department, complex, we put some money into there. Of course, there's room for more improvement at the complex as well. But the one place that we have not invested in is in our facilities. And I think that will create a great atmosphere for our facilities department. It will show them that we're ready to invest in them, not only in them, but also invest in that part of town that we just annexed. There is a lot of pros There is a couple of cons, but I think we could overcome the cons with pros. But with that, I'm done. I don't know if anyone else has anything.
Council, any other questions? All right, thank you for that dialogue, council. We have a motion and a second on item 8B. I'm gonna go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, going on to item 8C, consider and approve of approval of a resolution by the city council for the city of Pearsall, Texas, authorizing and approving publication of a notice of intent to issue one or more series of certificates of obligation and providing for other matters in connection therewithin.
Motion.
This is, I'll go ahead, I'll take a motion by Councilman Leal, may I have a second? Second by Councilwoman Hernandez. At this point, I'm gonna turn the, floor over.
Thank
Councilor?
you. Thank you, Mayor Briscoe. My name is Juan Aguilera. I've been here before. I see some new faces. Congratulations on the new faces, and happy to continue to be working with the city. What we have today is what the city has done in the past. In order to do a certificates of obligation, the law requires that a notice be published in the newspaper. And after twice, once a week for 2 consecutive weeks, and after 45 days from the first publication, then the city can be able, the council can be able to come in and entertain an ordinance whether you want to move forward and sell the certificates of obligation. By that time, Robert will have bids in, and you'll know exactly what you're looking at. The notice of intention and discussions with Mr. Reyes and Mr. Tijerina, we're gonna put down an amount not to exceed $800,000. And I know that Robert, Mr. Tijerina mentioned 710. That is a ceiling that you have. And what we've seen, Robert and I have seen throughout all our work that we've done with representing other clients, I'm sure Mr. Reyes has seen that, is that sometimes some things come up that you want to add an additional amount of money. So if we went out with $710,000, then that's it. You can't go move anymore. On June the 27th, when you will decide, that's the point you will decide. You could certainly go under 800,000, which right now the goal is $710,000, but you certainly cannot go over $800,000. If you wanted more money, we'd have to start the process over. So what we've got today and what we have prepared for the council's consideration is all you're authorizing, like Robert said, Mr. Tijerina said today, you're not getting into any kind of debt today. All you're authorizing, if you approve this resolution, is you're authorizing the staff to go ahead and publish a notice of intention. Now, Mr. Reyes, do they have a copy of this?
I believe, I think that's in the packet, yes, it should be in the packet, yes, I'm sorry.
So if you look at the very last,
Page 117.
112 or?
112 is the notice of intention, the resolution.
so you go to Exhibit A, which is the very last page, this is what you're authorizing, if you wish, this is the publication that will appear in the newspaper. Again, this is, starts the process rolling, and once you meet the letter of the law for the publication of the notices, then afterwards, on June 27th, at that point, you will consider and you will decide whether you want to move forward. We can't move forward unless we take this very first step. And again, if it's the wishes of the council to authorize this notice to be published, that's all we were doing today.
That's on page 116, Council.
And council, again, you're gonna get a chance to see this. Obviously, Mr. Tijerina will bring the loan packages back and you'll get a chance to approve it, but I certainly concur. There's no harm in putting a little ceiling out there. You're gonna either approve or disapprove the loan and the amount and the rate. So with that, we've got a motion and a second. I'm gonna call if there's any other questions. Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Aguilar.
Yeah, I think, do we have the reimbursement resolution?
That is on page 117.
Okay, and that's the next item, correct? Item 8D. All right, consider an approval of a resolution by the City Council of the City of Pearsall, Texas, establishing the city's intention of reimbursing itself for the prior lawful expenditure of funds from the proceeds of the obligation to be issued on behalf of the city for authorized purposes and other matters in connection therewith. This is an action item. I'm going to call for a motion. Motion by Councilman Gondeta, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Talamontes. Mr. Aguilar, you got the floor.
So what we have now is a resolution for reimbursement. This resolution is something we recommend to all our clients. What this does is, once it's approved, if there's any expenditures that happen between now and the time that you receive your funds, and you spend out of the general fund, if you wish, and that's again, if you wish, you could be able to come in and reimburse yourself for any of those expenses that are related to this project, not other projects, but this particular project. And so this makes good, business sense, and it's very prudent to go out and have this resolution in place. Now, this resolution, like the other resolution, does not obligate you to do anything, doesn't obligate you to issue any debt. It doesn't obligate you to even reimburse yourself. It's just that it's there, for federal tax laws require that if you have to make an expenditure, and if you want to reimburse yourself, the general fund, the only way you can do that is you have this resolution in place. So by adopting this resolution, Mayor and Council, you're setting forth a formal declaration of your intentions to reimburse yourself, if you wish, with future, obligations, and that's what this does.
In the event, council, that we pay cash for the building, that's what we're talking about. We've got the reserves. Should we, council, decide that's what we wanna do, then this will allow us to reimburse ourselves with those loan proceeds. So that, it's simply replenishing what we paid cash for, should we decide to do that. Any questions, council? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Aguilar. Appreciate it. Okay, next is item 8E, discuss and consider memorandum of understanding between the city of Pearsall and Chicanos por Yeah. You got it. You got me covered.
You wanna present this, Crystal?
Yeah, but let's go ahead and get a motion in a second on item 8.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilwoman Hernandez, a second by Councilwoman Garza. Thank you.
Before we start, I wanted to point out, the mayor did catch two things on this memorandum. And I think Bobby would agree, changes that need to be made to the agreement, and I don't think we've shown you, but the agreement's in the packet. I think the two things that were pointed out is on page 122, under termination. It's item A, it's a mutual agreement to terminate by parties. I think we feel more comfortable in saying that there's a 30-day, some sort of 30-day provision by either party.
Sure.
That's okay. And then the other one, Mayor, help me out, I think
It was under the jurisdiction of the state of Arizona. We prefer that to be Texas.
I caught that too, yeah, we certainly would prefer.
That's on page 124, Crystal, on, right there with the governing law.
So with those two changes, council, to change the governing law to the state of Texas on page 124, and to allow us a 30-day out upon our approval, not mutual agreement. Do I have any other?
The 30-day, was that for both parties or just?
No, just either.
Either or?
Either.
Okay.
We'll get with Bobby to you want to mention what this is, Crystal?
Sure. This is something the city has done a couple of times with not just Chicanos por la Causa, but also CDI, which was the previous entity that was taking place there. Pretty much what it states is, in the event of a crisis, they're gonna utilize the sports complex across the street as a pickup zone and a holding zone for the children until they're able to get picked up by their family members. So, in short, that's what pretty much it is. That's all it is.
Council, do you have any questions? Mutual aid, glad we can help in some way. Hearing no questions, we've got a motion in a second. I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, council, with your will, I'm gonna do item 8F and G together. These are two agenda items regarding the purchase of TASER equipment and license, and the movement of the money from one account to the other. So, if the council so wills, we're gonna do item 8F and G together. With this, discuss and consider ordinance number 20230501, amending the adopted budget, and the second part is discuss and consider acquisition and payment of TASER license training equipment through Byboard, contract number 648-21. May I have a motion and a second for these two items? I have a motion by Councilwoman Hernandez, I have a second by Councilwoman Talamantes. City Manager?
Yes, I'm gonna have Chief also join me on this discussion. First and foremost, I'd like to commend the police department and the police chief. This is actually a grant, that we were awarded. So it is, it's payment of the tasers. And I'll let Chief talk about the tasers and the training and things of that sort. But it's a grant that we have, it's been a long time. I don't know the last time we received a grant for the police department, but this is $71,000 and all it is just a wash, if you will. Once we pay it, we should get reimbursement on this. But the chief will talk about the tasers, but it is, we've made some steps, in my opinion, to receive some grant funding. I think we're looking this year about $300,000 to $350,000 in grant funding. This is part of what we're receiving. So we're making some steps, progress. So I want to commend again the police department. They'll be back here probably in the next month or two to go over body armor equipment that also is part of the grant. But Chief, you want to talk about the taser?
So we've actually already received the items. We received 20 tasers, holsters, we're receiving training, basically everything you can imagine that comes along with them. And it's costing the city nothing. All we need is just the approval to move the funds from the general fund to a line item specified for that, and it'll be reimbursed for that grant money. It's definitely something the police department needs. Tasers in themselves, they're a deterrent. People see them, they hear the noise, and that usually is enough to stop just about everybody without having to get physical or having to escalate. It's just a great tool, and I'm glad that we have it. We just need that approved.
Yeah, Councilman Leal, do you have a question?
Yes, during your training, do y'all like tase individuals or something?
That's it. In the past, it's been done, but it's up to the officer being certified for the taser.
Can
They
we
have
go
the
ahead-
option
Can
to
we go
opt
ahead
in
and
or out.
have the city manager tase you?
We're gonna call for a motion on that?
Yeah, it's tough. It's 5 seconds that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
I think we could, at the next festival, we could do, tase the city manager.
That would be a good fundraiser.
Okay, order. All right. Very good. Well, this is an awesome thing. Police department, congratulations, and city manager on working to get this grant. Costs us absolutely nothing, and again, keeps our officers safe, and folks see it and they kind of back off a little bit. So we've got a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Well, I just add one.
Yeah.
Tasers are not just for officers, for our safety, it's also for the public. We want to use the least force that we need to use, and it's like I just advised, just it being a deterrent, that's almost enough. The majority of the time, when in the case that we do need to use it, that's actually gonna be a lot better than us having to resort to using lethal force. Basically from going from hands-on to right now what we're utilizing, it's basically a pepper spray, but like a cartridge that shoots. So that's what we're utilizing right now. But in the case that didn't work for us, the pepper spray cartridge, we either have to rely on the county that has the tasers right now, or the next option would be using lethal force. So it's just another tool that we will have, and advise it's something that we've been using.
That's great, great. All right, we have a motion and second. This is a 2-item approval, so with this, I'm gonna ask all of those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously for item 8F and 8G. And again, council, items 8H, 8I, and 8J are all on a conditional use permit to set the next date in public hearing. So if your will is such, we will call for the approval. All 3 of those items on the next regular scheduled city council meeting, which will be June
13th.
13th.
It's on the memo.
Okay. So, the next 3 agenda items will be approved all at once. I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve a conditional use permit, for item 8H, 8I, and 8J. We have a motion by Councilwoman Hernandez. I have a second by Councilwoman Garza. City Secretary, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. for, consideration for conditional use permits. The research that's been done by the permit clerk, no structures are there, they are going to be used as their primary residence. She's yet to send out letters yet, but we'll have the, final tally numbers, on June 13th for consideration. Does anybody have any questions regarding the placement or the mobile home themselves?
All right, hearing none, council, I'm gonna call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Motion passes unanimously.